YouTube Buzzico in the Goat House is back, and today we're ranking every NFL team starting running back from 32 to 1 based off the upcoming 2022 season. So we're predicting how they will play with these rankings. The same thing for quarterbacks. Gonna do the same thing for every single position group. We're gonna rank offenses, defenses, units, all of it. So join us, like, subscribe to notifications on. We now offer super follows on Twitter. Some of you already joined up. Appreciate you very much. We offer loads of bonus content coming in the future, including rankings coming out, bonus rankings with each of these position group videos. So check it out. Link down below for anything that you are looking for, excited about. The running back rankings. But here's our Twitter. I tweeted it out. Here comes the running back rankings. And the super followers will get backup running back rankings because there's a lot of very good backups, better than some starters. And we'll have something similar to that for each position group. A lot more than just rankings coming there. So appreciate you guys very much. Check out our Twitter and check out the super follows, what we can offer there. So yeah, check it out. Link down below. Top 32 starting running backs. So I basically had to predict who some starting running backs will be. And again, this is predicting the upcoming season. This is not based off the past. So the Texans running back Rex Burkhead at 32. A big part of this, I mean, he isn't the best of the group, but a big part of this is there's going to be a three-way split, I believe. I think Burkhead, which it seems like they like, and he actually got going, remind us of the Patriots days. He got going later at the end of last year. They have Marlon Mack, who was once thought of as a legit starting running back, and they drafted Dameon Pierce, who's a tough runner. Put up quite a performance against that elite Georgia Bulldogs defense. So I'm thinking it's going to be a three-way split. I'm thinking Burkhead's going to start early. I think Pierce eventually takes over, so excited to see the young one there for the Texans. The Dolphins, it's tough to predict who their actual starter will be, because they have Edmonds, Michelle, and Mostert. Mostert, definitely familiar with that Mike McDaniel offense. So really thought about him. Do they want to limit him because he is kind of injury prone? They signed Chase Edmonds the second. It felt almost a free agency open there. So it feels like they really like him. I think they want to simplify things for Tua. A lot of underneath throws, dumping the ball off. So that's where Edmonds comes in. But a big-time split there. Devin Singletary, I ranked at 30. He did have a pretty solid year last year. Probably would, based off last year, would rank him better than 30. I just think James Cook's going to eventually be their guy. James Cook is so perfect for that offense, for that passing game, to throw off teams, make them account for a guy like James Cook. And I think he's got so much upside as a runner. He could be just as good as Singletary there. So I think they got Zach Moss as well. So there's a lot of splitting. I think James Cook eventually takes over because I just love the fit in Buffalo so much. So Singletary kind of on the bottom portion of this. Cordarrelle Patterson, who is he a running back? Is he a receiver? Was mainly running back for the Falcons last year. Had a very good year, but towards the end of the year, teams started to kind of figure it out. Game plan for it a little bit. And another one I'm predicting, I don't think he'll be their full-time running back at all. I like Tyler Algier for them. I think he'll kind of take over, and Patterson kind of fill in that receiver role with Drake London. But day one, it's probably Patterson. But that's a tough one because he's kind of a hybrid player. And again, I think teams were correctly game planning for that Patterson offense late last year. But very fun to watch. Definitely a weapon for sure. He comes in at 29. Again, predicting the upcoming season with these rankings. Next up, Rashad Penny at 28 looks so damn good, so explosive at the end of last year. Does have that injury concern? Is he going to play every snap? They also have Chris Carson, who's contemplating retirement because of a neck injury, but they have Kenny Walker as well from Michigan State. So it's just really tough to figure out. I don't know if we'll see much Carson or any of Carson this year. I think Penny and Walker will be splitting. It kind of feels like they're preparing for the future, so Walker kind of could take over at some point throughout this season. So it's tough to rank Penny high, even though I love the way he was running at the end of last year. Clyde Edwards-Helaire at 27. I do still think he'll be their guy, even though they have Ronald Jones, who's a solid other option there for them, which I'm excited about him in that offense. But I believe in Edwards-Helaire still. I think the Chiefs do as well. Just got to stay healthy. He's definitely a threat catching the ball as well. He's a tough runner. Again, just got to be healthy. So I think he'll be their guy. Comes in at 27. Hasn't really figured fully out yet. J.K. Dobbins at 26. Excited to see him healthy. Was very impressive 2 seasons ago, was out all of last year, also has to split with Gus Edwards and Mike Davis, so very tough to rank him super high, but I'm excited to see him healthy. Rookie at 25, because again, We are predicting the upcoming season, so we will rank rookies because they will play this year and they will be productive. At least some of them, like Breece Hall. But yeah, splitting with Michael Carter, but Breece Hall should be the guy. He was my number 1 running back in the draft, so I'm excited about him. See these young guys kind of taking over early, so possibly could be a lot better than 25, really. Curious to see what the Jets do. Are they going to run first team, pass first team, maybe different every week, which I would prefer, don't become predictable. But the rookie in there at 25. Shows how good running backs are because there's a lot of guys down here in the 20s. David Montgomery at 24, who's a strong runner. I think the Bears want to run the ball a lot this year. They didn't really build for the passing game. I guess the question is, are they going to be coming from behind in games? They're going to have to pass. Montgomery was looking legit, got injured, then Herbert came in for him and looked pretty solid as well. Actually, I know there was some of that fan base was calling to trade Montgomery, just go with Herbert last year. I don't know if Herbert's quite Montgomery, but he actually looked pretty solid as well. But Montgomery at 24, Miles Sanders, a very good runner. Just got to see if we'll see him every single game this year. They do have some other options as well. We know the Eagles like to run the ball quite a bit. And then tough one to rank in James Robinson of the Jaguars at 22 because he's coming off that injury late last year. Will he be good to go week 1? Jaguars are hopeful. They also have Etienne to split with. What is this new staff, including Doug Peterson, thinking about these running backs? Talent-wise, Robinson has proven to be better than 22. Just how much are we going to see of him this year? How much splitting is there going to be? Very tough. Same thing with Damian Harris. I ranked down at 21, who is an excellent running back. Arguably top 5 just based off last year alone. My situation, and more I think about it, is I'm not loving Damian Harris for this year as much, I guess in a fantasy perspective as well. I had him last year and liked him very much. That is because they have guys like Stevenson, who I really like, and they drafted Pierre Strong, who is a type of running back that they really don't have, kind of one cut and go, can fly down the field and catch the ball very well. And Damian Harris on that contract year, we know damn well the Patriots aren't going to extend him, sign him to a long-term deal. So do they prepare, have these next guys getting going? Do they prepare for the future? So maybe more of splitting for Damian Harris and the Patriots. Could be wrong, could be full go Damian Harris. I just don't think so. So he's at 21, so maybe less reps this year as a prediction. Next group of guys, number 20, DeAndre Swift, who has all the upside in the world. Are we going to see him, throughout the entire season? Can he stay healthy there? There's been times that they're holding him out or giving him limited snaps when you really don't expect it. Are they playing safe with him? They do have Jamal Williams as well, but he comes in at 20. Again, he has the ability to be a top 10 running back. Elijah Mitchell at 19, who was fantastic last year, looks legit. Obviously, he's got to be the guy for San Francisco, but they have Sermon. They draft Davis Price, who I like a lot at LSU. Another Sermon-type back I think could be better. And then they have Jeff Wilson as well. So what is Shanahan up to here? You think Mitchell's got to be the guy. Looked legit last year. Barkley, another one's tough to rank because is he going to play a full season? That's tough to say. And even after a couple injuries, doesn't really look like that elite guy we expect him to be, but still very solid and still kind of feels like with more reps has some upside there. But he comes in at 18. James Conner was lights out last year for sure. Very impressive, especially in the passing game. Surprisingly very solid. So I expect more of that this year. Is he going to play? Another one of those guys. Is he going to play every single game this year? No Edmonds in there, so that kind of opens things up for Connor. I know they have Darrell Williams, but not quite Edmonds. I think open things up for Connor to be even more of the guy, just really stay healthy. But very impressive season last year. We're on the top 16. A lot of these guys are in the same tier. It's so tough to split them up. Cam Akers, we're going to see him be the starting running back of the LA Rams from day one, and that's a special talent there with a lot of upside. So I expect him to see him full year, so he cracks inside the top 16, which we haven't seen yet. Leonard Fournette was very impressive last year, especially catching the ball out of the backfield. That kind of came out of nowhere as well. He's starting to look more. He's still kind of growing and progressing. He's starting to look more and more like that Fournette we expected out of LSU. Just fits perfectly with the Bucs. So I think he's a top 15 back. Might be an uncommon take. Josh Jacobs at 14, who has the talent to be a top 10 back, especially in this Josh McDaniels offense. A lot of running the ball, even though they kind of built that passing game. But at the same time, they declined his option. Are they preparing for the future? They drafted Zamir White. They have Kenyon Drake, who is a legit backup running back. So maybe some splitting there with Jacobs. But again, a lot of these guys have the talent to be top 10. There's just so many of those guys, and there's kind of something holding them back. Zeke at 13. He's still got the talent. Just a lot of times it looks like Pollard actually might be better. This is going to be the third year we were saying that. But Zeke, it's not like he's not good. He's still got that talent there, but maybe looking a little less explosive, a little less quick every single year, just a little bit. So could kind of be going in that direction here. But so just outside the top 10, I got him at 13. Next up, 9 through 12. 12, Antonio Gibson, I'm a big fan of. Does an excellent job of running really anywhere. You see the physicality. A guy that used to be a receiver and catches the ball so well. You see the physicality. It's very impressive. So, and they add Carson Wentz, maybe a little bit, even though a lot of us don't really love Carson Wentz, it's still a little bit better quarterback play, at least a little bit better. And that actually can open things up for Gibson, not only catching the ball, but running the ball as well. So I have him as a top 12 back. Austin Eckler at 11. I mean, you combine the running ability, the pass catching ability. He's definitely one of the very best in football. I do think they maybe take some carries away, especially inside runs, and they give them to rookie Isaiah Spiller. So maybe that limits which is a good thing for the Chargers in general. And maybe it's not the best thing for Eckler's ranking. Spiller wasn't there. Probably ranked better because there's more production, but good thing overall. Keeps Eckler healthy, gets prepared for the playoffs there. But it's not like they're going to completely take away his runs, obviously, but maybe that'd be a reason he just misses the top 10. I'm predicting Javonte Williams to make that jump. I didn't think they would bring back Melvin Gordon, who could be one of the better backup running backs in football. They did, so that keeps him from being even better because I think Javonte Williams could be a top 5 NFL running back. I'm a huge Javonte Williams guy just based off of he had a sneaky 900 yards last year, and he had this is all the top of my head, a sneaky, I want to say 300 or so receiving yards, that was very sneaky. People don't really realize that how productive he was. I think everyone knows his breaking tackle, ability there. But just going back to my prospect evaluation on him, I was extremely high. I think he's got the ability to be a top 5 running back very, very soon. Still a little bit of splitting, but he's going to be an absolute stud. I love his game. I got him in the top 10 for this year. And the crowd that doesn't understand that this is predicting the upcoming year will complain about this because they think for some reason it's based off the past. From the same draft class, I got Najee Harris at 9. Those two guys were my number 1 and number 2 running backs pre-draft that year. I actually had Javonte Williams as 1, and I think he has the ability to be better. But Najee Harris kind of got that full load and caught the ball very well for the Steelers last year and ran the ball extremely well. Maybe a little bit better this year, which is a scary part. So he's definitely into the top 10 just in his second year. So excited to watch those second-year running backs there. We're going on to 5 through 8. Aaron Jones at 8. Tough because he's splitting with a very, very good backup in A.J. Dillon. Aaron Jones missed some time last year, and they were kind of limiting him, and was kind of like, what are they doing? Do they like A.J. Dillon better? So it is a little risky ranking him this high. But, he's fully healthy right now, and he's their guy, and he's just so talented that he just has to be their guy. He's just super talented. Top 8 running back for me. So I got him at 8, but at the end of the year, we do these rankings again halfway through the year, end of the year. I guess I wouldn't be shocked if he ended up lower just because of A.J. Dillon factor, which is a pretty good thing for the Packers to have that 1-2 punch. But Aaron Jones is just too talented not to be in the top 8. And I thought his pass catching ability was getting better, or route running, because we know he could catch the ball. Route running ability was kind of getting better. So another reason why he's 8. Alvin Kamara, I have is a tricky one because I have at 7 because I'm kind of expecting some sort of a suspension. Kamara himself said he's expecting 6. 6 seems a bit much. He said at least 6. So I'm going to go ahead and predict anywhere in between that 4 to 8 range. 8 just really seems like, I think it'll be appealed after it hits, maybe down to 4. So we had to factor in, since I'm predicting this season, we have to factor in that he'll miss some time. We think maybe he doesn't get suspended at all. Then this is just completely wrong. But the fact that Kamara is expecting one says something here. So it kind of shows how good Kamara is. We're expecting maybe a 4-game suspension after appeal is kind of, I'm not a suspension guy. I'm just kind of predicting here. I'm spitballing. And I still got him at 7. He's probably a top 3 guy if he's not. So we'll say top 4 for sure if he's not. So I got him at 7 as a tough one to rank. Christian McCaffrey at 6, who has the talent, the ability to be, even number one, I was going to say maybe two, top three, we'll say, but even number one, it's just we haven't seen a whole lot of him being healthy the last couple of years, so it's tough to fully invest and rank him that high. They have Hubbard, who they like as well. They add Deontay Foreman, who was getting a lot better last year. So they have that group to kind of limit McCaffrey a little bit. They want to go, especially with Baker in there now, they want to go full McCaffrey. They'll try to do that, but it's tough to rank him super high, trust to fully invest, there. But I'm hoping he stays healthy this year. But so much talent, obviously. Maybe just maybe a receiver. So I was gonna say maybe just use him at receiver more and take less snaps away. Put Hubbard and Foreman in there. But are you equally as likely to kind of get injured doing that? Maybe. I guess it's debatable. Running on the inside runs is probably the to create wear and tear. So maybe a little bit less of that. That could be a good thing for the Carolina Panthers, who I'm excited about with Baker. They have a quarterback now. I believe in Baker. I got Joe Mixon at 5, so a little bit of a jump. We're not really quite used to seeing him ahead of McCaffrey, ahead of Kamara, but I'm going to do it. I like Mixon. I like his talents. I think he's getting better catching the ball out of the backfield, which he always was good there, but a very good runner. And now, I think people think about the offense line. The Bengals improved we think they improved their offense line. We got to see it in action. I think we're all very confident. They improved their offensive line, obviously. But we talk about they improved their offensive line. So people kind of think the passing game, and it's true. It's true because Burrow was getting hit pretty early and often. It was the reason they lost the Super Bowl. But people don't talk about the running game. I think it's big time for the running game. And I think other teams are just so, when they play the Bengals, they're just, what are they thinking about? They're thinking about, how do we deal with Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, Tyler Boyd, and then that guy slinging it to him? How do we deal with this? And that's their main focus. And you got a dangerous running back like Mixon with a new, better run-blocking offensive line. That's the Bengals' trump card this year. That's running the football. And I think they'll do, not every week, they won't pound it, but that'll be a big part of their game this year and really mess with teams. So I got Joe Mixon as a top 5 running back for this year. And a reminder before the top 4 Super Foul is now live on Twitter. You get bonus content, involvement in leagues, activities, more Q&As, start 'em, sit 'em during the year. But later today, I'll be ranking the backup running backs about top 15 or so, because there's some really good ones. A.J. Dillon's an example. I'll be for the super followers. So I'll be doing that for everything. So tomorrow I'll rank top 32 receivers, and then we'll have like the next best 20 receivers for our super followers. So some of you already signing up. I appreciate you very much. Good way to show us your support and help us grow and get bonus content. On the top 4 running backs, maybe it's an obvious 1 and 2 in my opinion. Maybe debatable at the top. We'll get there though. I got Nick Chubb at 4. You do worry about him staying fully healthy, playing even though he was like dressed on the field, they weren't giving him the ball. So is that going to be a thing because they have Kareem Hunt, Dearness Johnson? Chubb's is too damn talented. Even with kind of being limited a little bit last year, he's still insanely productive, still one of the toughest guys to tackle. So I put him at 4. Him and Cook for me, we're kind of in that 3-4 range. Both need to stay healthy. They both have running backs to kind of take not take their job, but take some reps away. I think the difference is, I guess, Stefanski, who happened to come from the Vikings, but him kind of a little hesitant going Chubb. When Dalvin Cook's healthy, the Vikings are, I know it's a different staff now, but they're full go Cook. But Dalvin Cook, it sounds like they're going to get him going a bit more in the passing game, so which is going to be fun too. Some more production for Dalvin Cook, who I got at 3. So number 1 and number 2, we got the king of last year, Jonathan Taylor, and the king. I think a lot of people in Derrick Henry, I think a lot of people are ranking Jonathan Taylor number 1 because he was insane last year, and he very well could be number 1. Just thinking we can't really forget who the king of the running backs are in Derrick Henry. If Derrick Henry, I know he got hurt last year. There's nothing telling me that's going to come back or that there's going to be an injury problem. I guess we'll wait and see. If there was something presented to me that I worried about the health, then I wouldn't rank him 1. I could be wrong, but there's nothing there that tells me that. So kind of going back to last year, if Derrick Henry was fully healthy all year, I think we'd be saying this guy's number one. He was number one. So I think we're forgetting maybe a little bit, but Jonathan Taylor is that good. The combination of explosiveness, speed, all of that, elusiveness, very, very impressive. So he definitely could be number one again and kind of get them himself, which he already was kind of in that MVP conversation. So I'm excited to see him at Matt Ryan. That's the thing. It's going to be very curious to watch. I don't think we're going to see... It's not going to be a different Jonathan Taylor. We're going to have like the same Jonathan Taylor, but it is a little bit different with that Colts offense because two things I'd say. With Carson Wentz, they ran a lot of RPO, and sometimes a strong RPO game or a decent, at least, RPO game could open things up for the running game. They go to Matt Ryan. They're not going to go RPO at all, really. Very limited. So that changes things a little bit. Taylor's good enough to keep that going. But then the positive for Jonathan Taylor is the passing game is going to be much more of a threat with Matt Ryan, which I guess could take away carries from Taylor. He's still going to be very productive, but it's going to be so much of a threat that teams won't stack the box, and Taylor will be able to be feasting that much more. So that would be another reason why he could be one. Derrick Henry, though, that's the thing, predicting these running backs every year, I'm so used to it. There's always those guys that sneak up there. Jonathan Taylor would be that guy last year. We didn't expect him to be number one last year. He ends up there. I mean, guys like James Conner, Damian Harris, Leonard Fournette, Cordero Patterson were towards the top. There's always those guys kind of sneaking up, and even some of those guys were better than Cook and Chubb. Debatable, I guess, but on that single year. So my point is there's always those guys sneaking up, but something I learned is that Derrick Henry is always still, when he's on the field, just feels like the guy. So that'd be another reason why I went with Henry number one. But it could be changing maybe after another year or two, Taylor sneaking up there. Like I said, if Cook stays healthy and they get him involved like they're supposed to in the passing game, maybe he gets up there. And then Javonte Williams and Najee Harris are coming. Those guys are coming for sure. Mixon could be stronger because of they got a better run blocking, we think. We'll see, but that should be for Cincinnati. Breece Hall, some of these young guys, Kenny Walker be taking over. James Cook, I like the idea of him with the Bills. So these guys could be creeping up there. We see the running backs kind of changing rapidly lately. So, who's at the top, who's not. So we'll see. Excited to see these guys this year, and there's a lot of good running backs. I mean, everybody on this list is a very good running back. It's not like the guys at the bottom are bad. There's a lot of good backup running backs. There's a lot of good third-string running backs, even out there. Super followers, again, I'll be ranking some backup running backs for them. It's very, very curious to see what I come up with. Still got to do it because there's some good ones. Tough to split up there, but. Yeah, there's a lot more bonus content if you're a super follower there. If you're a Patreon member, I'd recommend kind of switching over to super follows because it's kind of the same thing and some. It's very easy for me to interact with everybody on Twitter. Just so easy to use. Anytime I have a thought, I can put it on there, really. So, check that out. Link down below for the Twitter. It's @GoDustNFL. Like, subscribe to notifications on. We got our receiver rankings next. Then we'll go tight end, on the offensive line, then on the defense. And we'll actually rank units, duos, offenses, defenses. So we got all those rankings to get to and much more. Cannot wait for the season. So join us for all that. Be much appreciated. It's also much appreciated that you guys tuned into this video. But that is going to do it. Goodbye.